I can deal with the racism and colorism, but at the end of the day, I know the impact and the change that I'm making in this industry is a stamp. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna do it proudly. It doesn't matter if you don't think that I belong at this table. I know I do.
Golloria George is changing the beauty game on social media. Her powerful voice is reshaping industry standards, calling for tone inclusivity and gaining millions of views.
What is the most misunderstood thing about you?
Probably that people think that I enjoy making the darkest shade videos. Every time I swatch a product that doesn't work for me, like, oh my God, they think it's like the happiest thing ever, but it's actually kind of traumatizing. It's a constant reminder that you're like not included. Your skin color and how you look is not perceived by the world. They don't even acknowledge you enough to make a shade for you. They don't see you. The racism and the colorism and the backlash. It's been something that I've dealt with my entire life. Dealing with it now at the masses has been definitely really difficult. Like, I know the standards that I'm held to are insane standards, but in order to do this, I have to live unapologetically for myself. Thousands of bad comments, you know, of racist, like colorist, horrible comments. Despite it all, I'ma still make the video. You guys can drag me for 2 weeks, but I'ma still come back with another darkest shade video because it's bigger than me.
Gloria, welcome to the squeeze.
Thank you. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm good. I'm so excited because I've been watching your content for so long. I actually didn't realize I didn't follow you. I thought I followed you because you've literally been on my For You page for forever.
Period, though.
And then I was like, oh, I should probably follow her.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for following me.
Oh my gosh.
We're here.
Of course. Okay, so we start each episode off this jar. It's a little game called Citrus Got Real.
Okay.
If you want to pull a little piece of paper out of there.
Yes. Go with this one because I can't see it. Okay. It says, which scent immediately brings back a core memory for you? Ooh. That's honestly a great question. I would probably say Glossier You. That was like my college scent. Like, I used to wear that scent in college all the time.
What is like the undertone of that?
It's very like fruity. Like there's like a slight musk, but it's not crazy. But that was like my only perfume. And it was like semi-affordable. I think it was like my first PR scent too. Yeah. So yeah, because it was my first PR scent, that's all I could afford. That's all I wore.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know. I'm like, I need to get better at like perfumes and things like that. I feel like my scent for my wedding, we're stupid, but we did like a wedding scent, but we just you know, the company Sniff, they make candles, literally the best candles, but we just had like 20 of their like giant candles around.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a scent they already have. I'm blanking on the name right now, but we just had like a bunch of those candles at the wedding. So whenever I burn that, I'm like, I think of our
wedding day.
Our wedding.
That's so cute.
But no, that made me think of like the only perfume I would ever wear growing up is just like the Victoria's Secret pink, like the stuff that probably is not good for us to be inhaling.
But they were so, the packaging was so cute. It was like you kind of had to buy it.
Yeah. No, you definitely had to. Well, I'm excited to like sit down and chat because as I said, like I love your content because I feel like it's the perfect level of like fun, like watching you just like dance at 4 a.m. I'm like pumped to like get my day going. But also it's been really eye-opening for me because you've brought to light things that I've never even like thought of how makeup is made and the base of it, which, you know, I've never even like thought of. So it's been really, it's cool how you've been able to blend a sense of like seriousness of this needs to change, but also fun and still lighthearted and letting your personality really show.
Thank you.
But I kind of want to start with your childhood because you weren't born here.
No.
You're from South Sudan.
Yes.
And then you moved here when you were a child.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was quite interesting. I think just like naturally when you don't have like parents that, you know, speak a lot of English or even just like don't really know a lot about the country because I think it was new for everybody. It was just kind of hard growing up. But I think we also we moved to the Midwest. So there was a lot of white people.
Yeah.
And being as dark as I was hard. Like the bullying was definitely like, it was out of this world. I was like, oh, wow. So I think just naturally, just because of that, it kind of makes sense that I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Like I'm doing the darkest shade videos because it was always something that I kind of felt like I had to just like minimize myself over. Like I wasn't super talkative. Like I had friends, but like I'm like, were they really my friends? And they still made like the rude comments, but you know, I was just trying to get by. So it was just like, whatever, we're just gonna do what we can in that moment. But yeah, it was definitely hard. And I think that naturally I just kind of like grew into learning to love myself, but it was never like an original like feeling that I had. Like it was never like, oh, you're that girl like a super young age. I didn't have that confidence. So it was definitely just like that learning curve and learning growth. And then just being in like my environment where it just like there wasn't anyone that looked like me. Right. So it was just like reflected in everything that was happening in my life. Like I knew that I was always going to be that one Black person there.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
Yeah. What prompted your family to move?
I think it was just war. Like it just wasn't safe to be there. And I think just overall my mom just really wanted for us to have like a better opportunity and just like the best that she could do and the best that she can give us. And she knew that it wasn't going to be there. So granted, you know, we came here, we did it, we did the work. She worked as hard as she could and she gave us what she could with what she could. So
yeah. So when did your love for beauty and makeup start?
Probably, I would say early college for sure. I feel like I didn't really play with a lot of makeup growing up because it was just like there wasn't really a lot for me. And if I did play with anything, it was like highlighters. Like I would go crazy with the highlighter, like on the nose and the corner, you know, like that was it. Like I really would go in with my.
I cannot figure out for the life of me how to do that. I am like very challenged when it comes to makeup.
Yes.
My girlfriend Jacqueline like bought me a whole new makeup like routine because I don't know like what I'm doing. So I'm
I didn't know either.
Learning.
You're learning and that's okay. But for sure was the highlighter. And that's all I usually like, that's all I used because that's all that was like accessible to me and all that worked. But then I went to college and I started making my own money and I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy some things, some makeup. And then just like naturally like in college, there's like this ritual for girls to like get together before like you go out and like do your makeup together and like just like hang out with your friends. And I just felt so left out because I was like, wow, like y'all are doing full faces and I don't got nothing. So that really just like prompted like, okay, like test it out a little bit, see what you like, see what you don't like. And it was definitely trial and error because I was not good at it at first. I was like, the makeup is not giving what it needs to.
Yeah. It's so fun to like learn, I feel like, how to do, I mean, coming from me because I grew up dancing, so I'm like used to just like cakey stage makeup with like just the thickest like smoky eyelash, just like not, it wasn't giving. And I feel like I was like rebelled against like wanting to do my makeup. And now I'm slowly like starting to learn like how,
you know, you can do clean girl.
Clean girl. That's definitely my vibe. So when did social media start? Were you doing that kind of throughout college as well?
Yes, it probably started, I think like my maybe like the end of my sophomore year, early junior year is when I really like was like, okay, like I'll play with the camera a little bit. I was also working 2 full-time jobs. So like I didn't really have a lot of time to create a lot of content, but like I just constantly remember coming home at like midnight after work and like trying to get a video out. I never thought that it would actually get here because it was just like, it didn't seem sustainable at that point. Like it was just like you're working 2 full-time jobs, you're going to college, like you're doing a lot and you're still coming home to like pull out a camera. I do remember though, like younger, like whenever I was younger, I always like loved the camera. Like I always loved taking pictures. I always loved like the idea of like photographing things. So I don't know if it stemmed from that, but we're here.
When you were making content, was it beauty? Like were you doing makeup or was it more lifestyle or what did you start doing?
It was more just like my life. Like it was more like, okay, I'm at work right now. Like I'm having a miserable time. Like let's make a cute little TikTok video or just like college stuff. But it wasn't really makeup at first. And then I slowly started to dive into makeup a little bit, like just like get ready with me's and stuff. And then everything else just kind of came full swing.
I know your get ready with me videos. Like I feel like I watch them at like 10 a.m. and I'm like, I really should get up because you're up at literally like 4 a.m. And
you know,
what time do you go to bed?
Honestly, it depends. Like I feel like sometimes I go to bed at like 1 a.m. Sometimes I'm really tired and I go to bed at like 8 p.m. But it just depends on like, I get overstimulated very easily. So when it's time to clock out, I clock out.
Is the waking up that early a normal thing or is that like on mornings you like have travel or you're wanting to get a workout in?
It's probably, I travel a lot, so it's pretty consistent. Like I think it's like probably like 4 or 5 times out of the week where I'm like waking up that early. Sometimes I'll sleep in though, like it just depends on where I'm at that moment. But it is hard, but it's really by force.
What keeps you motivated to wake up that early? Because I feel like so many people want to do that, like want to get up and get a workout in before they start their workday, but it's so hard because it's so early.
Yeah, honestly, I used to dread life. Like I was like dreading life was like a constant for me. Like I remember where I used to like sleep in until like 2 p.m. like 1 p.m. My mental health was so bad and I like just didn't want to be alive. I've like reached a point in my life where I'm like so thankful and like grateful for a lot of the things that I have, and I've also grown a lot too. And getting up in the morning and it being early, it's like a form of mercy for sure. Like it's like, okay, like you have overcome so much and like you are able to do these things now for yourself without it feeling like you're constantly having to like overcompensate for everything. And like you can get up, you can go work out. And so just always giving myself grace first. I feel like I was never really like giving myself grace prior, and I think that's probably why I was so miserable. But just also, you know, recognizing this is my first time living life too, and I'm also learning, and with that comes like learning the consistency, learning the discipline. And I also feel like growing up too, like I did not really grow up in like a structured house. Like there was just like a lot of trauma and a lot of things that happened in that house, so there wasn't that waking up early, there wasn't like, oh, we're eating breakfast or dinner, or like everything was just like scrambled all the time, and just very dysfunctional. And now that I have control over that, that's like my biggest number one, is like I finally have control over things. So I'll get up at 4 a.m. I'll give up at 5 a.m. If I have to cry a little bit, I will, but it's just a form of mercy, and I'm just grateful to be alive. So
I love that. I feel like having grace for ourselves is so important. We had someone on the podcast not that long ago, and they were like, we need to treat ourselves how we treat our friends. Like if your friend comes to you and is like, hey, I'm really struggling with my mental health today, you're not going to be like, suck it up, go. Like you're going to, you know, encourage them, you know, take the time off, whatever it is. And that's how we need to be to ourselves. We really need to have grace with ourselves. And I feel like we're at a good place with working out, where maybe like between 5 to 10 years ago, it was always just like working out to gain a physical achievement from it. But now I feel like we're really starting to see the effects of the waking up early, getting a workout in, and what it's actually doing to our mental health. And the way like I get in these cycles of not working out, and you know, I feel sluggish, I don't really want to leave the house, I like get in these things, and then I go outside for like a 20-minute walk, or I go take a Pilates class. I'm like, wait,
I actually want to be alive.
Yeah, I'm actually loving this.
Yeah.
It's so true, because I feel like we just get stuck, and it's so hard to like break out of that. And I think it's important to have grace with yourself, and then really get through it.
Genuinely. And I think working out is just like a really good form of that, because it's like, you know, whenever you are in like a depressive state or you have a lot of anxiety, like I think everyone's like natural instinct is to like not do anything and just sulk in those feelings. But I think that's just like not productive. Like it's not productive, because it's just like, what are you going to do with them? And they're just going to sit there, and you're going to sulk, and you're going to remind yourself that, hey, I'm not feeling that great right now. And just like taking a walk, like a 10-minute walk, like going outside, breathing some air, it really does take your mind away from those like constant feelings. It's definitely not going to fix the issues right away, for sure. But like any form of movement, I genuinely feel like is honestly just like a really, really great form of like showing care to yourself. Yeah.
It's so true. I've been doing this thing recently where if I'm anxious, or I feel like I am anxious so much now, I know that it's not going to kill me, and I know it's not going to take over me, but I know how I'm going to feel. So I'm like, I'm going to work for a little bit, and then I'm going to go lay out in the sun, and I'm just going to lay there on the cement and just like ground myself. And then I come back in and I end up feeling a little better. Yeah. So just taking those little moments throughout the day is really important.
Really is.
Let's be honest, we all have a million things we have to worry about every single day. And getting in a good workout really shouldn't be one of them. Enter Tonal. Tonal will pick the perfect weight, track your progress, and suggest what to do next based on your muscle readiness, taking the guesswork out of getting a great workout in. If you haven't heard of Tonal before, Tonal is the world's smartest workout that effortlessly fits into the busiest of lifestyles. And with the latest iteration, Tonal 2, you can ensure your workout is more tailored and effective than ever. Tonal adjusts in 1 pound increments with adaptive weight that now goes up to 250 pounds, challenging even the most advanced users to push their limits. You can also experience a full body burn with Aero HIIT workouts, the perfect blend of heart pumping cardio and strength. It's really cool because Tonal analyzes your movement, senses when you're fatiguing, and will drop the weight until your muscles are maxed out. it's actually a personal trainer. If you haven't heard of Tonal, it is honestly one of the coolest, if not the coolest piece of workout equipment, because it is like having a personal trainer in a full gym in this one machine. It is truly the coolest thing. When I first used Tonal, I was mind blown, and honestly still continue to be, because it's insane how smart this machine is. And also there's no excuses. It mounts right on your wall. It is a sleek design, and it is honestly the coolest thing. You guys need to check them out. And right now Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code SQUEEZE. That's tonal.com and use promo code SQUEEZE for $200 off your purchase. That's tonal.com, promo code SQUEEZE for $200 off. Whether you are all about simple mascara and gloss, or you love to play with bold shapes and colors, there's always a trusty favorite in there that you use with every look. And that's where Thrive Causemetics comes in. Thrive Causemetics makes 100% vegan and cruelty-free products you can depend on for everything from daily wear to show-stopping self-expression. Something that I love about Thrive Causemetics is for every product purchase, Thrive Causemetics donates products and funds to help communities thrive. They've donated over $150 million worth of product and cash funds to over 600 giving partners across the U.S. Their donations support 8 major causes, including those affected by cancer, homelessness, domestic abuse, and more, reaching individuals from all walks of life. They have some staple products that I love, and I'm constantly seeing on the internet, constantly seeing people use, and I understand why. Some of those are the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. This is a vegan tubing mascara with over 40,000 5-star reviews. It comes in 6 shades that last all day without clumping, smudging, or flaking. They also have the Brilliant Eye Brightener. This is an eyeshadow highlighter stick made to brighten, open your eyes, giving you an instant eye lift. You can try your new trusty favorites with an exclusive set for our listeners. New customers get the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara and a mini-sized Brilliant Eye Brightener at a special price with free shipping at thrivecosmetics.com/squeeze. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/thesqueeze. Style trends are constantly coming and going. And honestly, it is pretty frustrating when a new trend starts. You buy all these new clothes and then it goes out of style and you've just wasted all your money on buying new clothes. But that's where Nuuly comes in. Nuuly is a subscription clothing rental service. And for just $98 a month, you can get your choice of any 6 styles, access to thousands of styles for more than 400 brands. Brands like For Love of Lemons, Hill House, Free People, A Goldie, Anthropology. They also have inclusive sizing up to 5X, as well as petite and maternity, fast free shipping and returns, and professional cleaning in Nuuly's state-of-the-art laundering facility, as well as the option to buy what you love at a discount. I love Nuuly. I just think what they're doing is genius, because it's true. Styles come in and out, and what's trendy this month might not be trendy the next month. And that's what's so great about Nuuly is you can rent these clothes and you can see what fits you, what you like. And then when the trend goes out each month, you just swap it out for what's new. And that's why Nuuly is so great. And Nuuly is also a great value at $90 a month for any 6 styles. But right now you can get $28 off your first month of Nuuly when you sign up with code SQUEEZE. Just go to NUULY.com. That's Nuuly with 2 U's, and enter the code SQUEEZE and sign up to get $28 off your first month. That's NUULY.com. Nuuly with 2 U's with code SQUEEZE. Nuuly subscription clothing rental. Change your clothes. Okay, when did you do your first darkest shade video? And I guess what prompted it?
Yeah.
Also.
I want to say it was probably like 2022, maybe 2023. And it was the Fenty Caviar Matchstick, I believe. Something Fenty. It was either the foundation or the matchstick. And I had it was like the first time I got like a check that was like enough for me to go and buy some makeup.
Yeah.
And I went to go buy the matchstick and I bought the foundation. Those were the 2 products that I bought. And like it actually worked for me and I was actually shocked. So I was like, okay, wow, this is crazy. Like I cannot believe this. And I tried it on camera too. Like I was just like, okay, let's just record, try it on camera. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it was also just like, I was feeling that excitement of like, oh my gosh, like you finally are able to like go and like do things for yourself, like nice things for yourself too. So it's definitely like one of those like recording moments where I was just like, okay, let's do it. And I didn't think my reaction was going to be as raw as it was, but it was. And I was just like, wow, like this is like, if I feel like this, I'm sure hundreds and thousands of other women feel like this too. And like, this is something that you can share and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And the second I shared it, like it really went up. I was just like, oh wow, this is really crazy, but it was amazing.
I love it. It's so cool, and I love that you do it and continue to do it, because it's so eye-opening. Like for me especially, like I felt so ignorant watching some of these videos. I'm like, I had just never even thought about, there's with the, what is it, the YSL blushes, like that something has a white base. Like I never even thought to, think of it. And I was like, wow, it really is eye-opening, especially for these makeup brands that, are huge and have all this money, and the fact that that's not included in there. For me, it was really eye-opening for me.
Yes. And I think those are like, I know my lived-in experience is not the lived-in experience of a lot of people. Like, yes, I'm Black, but I'm also like very dark. And I think that when you have like lived in a life where that's like the first thing people see, it's really, really like, it can be really, really difficult sometimes, because it's just like you can't really camouflage. You can't really hide. Like that's actually the first thing people see. So I think with makeup brands as well, and like how they curate shades, they are not used to seeing people as dark as me. And because of that, they usually just like stop at the paper bag. And that's why we have these issues of like, there's a white base, or these shades just don't look great in undertone, because they just think that this skin tone is just like the rarest ever, when it's actually not. Like there are so many people that look like me, even though you may not see them frequently. Like there's entire communities, the entirety of South Sudan, and like there are people darker than me. And so I just like know that like my content isn't just like feeding the people that look like me too, and like my community, but it's also educating people that may not be used to seeing people like me. And I think makeup brands too, like it is helpful for them, because you can swatch it on paper, you could swatch it on someone like a little lighter, and it will always look different on me. Like it'll always look different on me. And I think seeing that, like actually like seeing that on real camera, real life, and in front of like $100 studio lights, like you can't lie. You can't lie.
There's no hiding it.
There's no hiding it.
Oh my gosh. So what was the first, I know you had a whole thing with Rhode that I want to get into, but was Rhode the first brand that actually like responded to you and a sense of taking steps to change it?
I've had a few brands respond and taking steps to change it, but I do think that Rhode was like the first actually receptive brand. I think a lot of these other brands, they just have a history of changing it, but changing it for the optics. Whereas with like Hailey and Team Rhode, like I genuinely believe that they actually want to be inclusive. And it wasn't even just in like the product in itself. Whenever the new Rhode blushes came out, she used a South Sudanese model. And that was just like big. It was just like, okay, so not only do you see that you could do better, but you also see that aside from the products, inclusion goes far beyond that. It goes to the campaigns, it goes to the product, the lab, making sure that the people that are actually making these products are Black. And the cosmetic chemist was also Black making these products. And I think that shift in like, okay, it's not just the product, like we actually need to make sure that internally in our teams and how we just portray these products and how they're viewed outwardly are in an inclusive light. And I think that Hailey really just does a good job of like listening, of just being like, I did miss the mark, and I'm sorry, and I'm gonna do better. And I also recognize that your experience is one that I will also never understand, and because I can't understand that, I'm not gonna tell you that it's not valid. I'm just gonna fix it and do the best that I can. And she's continued to do that in every product launch. So I think Rhode is definitely one of those brands that I will for sure just continue to work with, because they've shown me just like overall, like this industry is an industry that's really hard to be in, but there are people that are willing to like actively change and make tangible change. And Hailey's one of them. So T.
Yeah, I know. I love her.
Yes.
I've gotten to spend some time with her, and when you started posting about that, I was like, okay, this is actually like, this is genuine. Like this is not just, a brand coming in trying to make their name better or whatever it is. Like this is a genuine thing.
It really is. And it's just like, even just her taking the time to call me from like her own personal phone number and being like, hey, like I want to extend the conversation. I want to have an honest one. And I don't want to do it with like my entire team behind me and like my PR team. Like human to human, like let's actually talk about it. Like, what can I do? What did I miss? What do you think that I can do moving forward? And it was just like a really raw, honest conversation. And I appreciated that, because I think a lot of these brands like to just like hide in the light of like their PR teams, or just like, oh, we can hop on Zoom call and there's like 10 people on the Zoom call, and like not the founder is like never even present most of the time, or just like the person that owns the brand. So it just goes to show that like she actually cares about her work, and she actually cares about the products. And beyond that, I think that everything that she wants to put out comes from a place of like love for her brand. And like, I'm just like, period, like you ate and you will continue to eat.
I love that.
Yes.
What brands do you think are like really putting in that work for inclusion?
I think for sure LYS Beauty. I think LYS Beauty has done an amazing job of making sure everything is just like everyone is included, but like just making sure that the darker shades are prioritized. And I think that that's because Tisha is, one, she's Black owned founder, so it's also her lived in experience. And then secondly, like even though it's a smaller indie brand and they're just like, their gondola in Sephora is like this big, like super small. And I think they should have more space. That's tea. But I think Tisha does a really good job of just like from the start making sure that like the girls know that your beauty is like a lived in beauty. Like you should love yourself. And that's what LYS stands for. And you know, sometimes our Blackness kind of just like, it can be hard sometimes. It can be really hard sometimes. And I think that with brands that are genuinely sure that they want inclusion to be at the forefront of their brand, they do a really good job of making sure that it's beyond products and campaigns as well. And just Tisha being Black and just making sure that her team too is like Black, because the girls are Black on LYS Beauty. And I just love it. And I think that just with that too, like you can be like, oh, I'm dropping a new product, and then have the entire team try it, and they're all Black, different shades of Black, but like you're gonna see what it looks like on them. And she's just like really open to hearing different feedback and just like just being there for Black creators. And I've seen that in all of her campaigns, and it's amazing to see. I also think Danessa Marix does an amazing job. Danessa is like, she's really just an icon. Like Danessa has broken barriers that have been barriers. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her multiple times, and I've had the pleasure of having like one-on-one conversations with her. And Danessa is also dark skinned too. So I think that, you know, a lot of her products are very much so, okay, I have been missing a lot in the beauty industry. Like I've been excluded a lot. Like I want to make products that work for me, but I also know I'm dark, but I know there are darker. And Danessa and everything that she does is just like full of light, full of love. And I just like really appreciate just her existence as a whole. Like she's amazing.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm curious how like moving forward, because obviously you're now in this space, you're making money off of your videos. What boundary do you set to make sure like the integrity of your brand stays? Because I'm sure there's beauty companies that want you to make videos and are willing to pay you, but you don't necessarily believe in their product. And that could be really hard sometimes when you see a big amount of money. It's hard sometimes to say no. I'm curious how you go about that.
I think the number one thing to remember is I grew up poor. Like we did not have money. I was broke. Okay. And when I did have money, I would just hate knowing that like, if it was me and I got influenced by somebody and like I only had $25 left and I went to go buy a product and it didn't work for me and I couldn't return it, I would be sick. So I think above it all, it's just actually like taking a step back and realizing that, these are big numbers on screen, but these are also real people. And no matter what you think is happening, no matter what they believe, like you do have influence and you do have some sort of responsibility to that. I think a lot of influencers in this day and age are just very out of touch with the reality of like who they actually are influencing. But like we have iPad babies, you know, like we have actual kids watching your content. And it's just really important to know that like, one, remember where you come from, like remember how you used to live life. And then two, recognize that like there are probably people living that life too that look up to you, and because you've lived that life and they know your story and they've heard your story, that's the reason that they're watching you. And I constantly remind myself too that it's always going to be bigger than me, and centering other people before you center yourself is like the biggest thing and like the biggest reminder that I could give a lot of influencers.
I love that. And it honestly I feel like it's the most rewarding when you do stay true to yourself and you know, the intent of why you started doing something. Because with this podcast all the time, like I've turned down people to come on here that would have got millions of views or whatever it is, but it doesn't align with the brand that I've made. And it is really hard sometimes. Like the internal compass is like, well, like this could be really big and like this could really open a lot of doors for me. But at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I actually started this as a mental health podcast because I want to help people feel seen and heard. And having this guest on is not going to help people feel seen or heard. And it honestly feels the most rewarding, like internally when deciding to make that step. And I think a lot of people can learn from how you approach that, because it's true. A lot of influencers will just, do whatever for the check. And I think it shows. And I think that's why you come across truly just how you are, because you're authentically yourself in your content. And that's the brand that you've really stayed true to.
For sure. And it's just like, there's just not enough money in the world that you could give me. It's like, I'm very comfortable now and I'm very grateful, but I've also lived a life with like not having an abundance of things.
Yeah.
And, it's okay. Like, it's actually okay. Like I don't need the $10,000. I don't need the $20,000. I think that also, just because I just didn't really have a lot growing up, I am very content with very little. Like, I live well below my means, and I'm very comfortable doing that because, we were struggling to keep a roof over our head, And so like now that I have it, it's like, that's really enough for me. But it's like whenever people are constantly wanting more and more and more and more, and it's never enough, like you really have to sometimes sit with the fact that like, it is enough. Overconsumption is not every day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Did you know that about a third of women face barriers to accessing prescription birth control? Whether it's a struggle of getting an appointment for a prescription, taking time off of work or school, lack of insurance, and not to mention carrying the mental load of it all, women have been facing these barriers head on. But now we can take a breath, because with Opill, for the first time in U.S. history, no permission is required to access a daily birth control pill. Opill is a daily birth control pill that's FDA approved, full prescription strength, and estrogen free. It is 98% effective when used as directed, making it the most effective over-the-counter birth control available. You can find Opill at most major retailers or online. When I first heard about Opill, I cannot tell you guys how excited I was because of all of these struggles that women face. It can be so hard to get birth control, and now this is an FDA-approved over-the-counter birth control. I also love that it's estrogen-free. I recently switched to birth control that is estrogen-free, and I have been loving it for myself. Opill is birth control in your control. And you can use code SQUEEZE for 25% off your first month of Opill at opill.com. That's code SQUEEZE at OPILL.com. Check out Opill to see if it's right for you. We talk a lot about self-care on The Squeeze, but one powerful aspect of self-care that deserves a little more attention is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the act of fully embracing both your strengths and weaknesses without judgment. When you embrace your strengths and your weaknesses, we feel more accepted by ourselves and also by others. One great way to feel accepted financially is with Discover. That's because Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. That percentage is based on the February 2025 Nielsen report, which means acceptance at 99% of businesses like yoga studios and juice bars. There's a good chance that you'll feel stronger with the improved flexibility of yoga and the boosted immune system of juice. And more strength certainly helps when it comes to embracing both your strengths and weaknesses. And thanks to Discover's cashback match, Discover will automatically double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year. And there's no limit on how much they'll match. So get out there, be accepted, double up on the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, and maybe use it towards even more self-care. It pays to Discover. See terms at discover.com/creditcard. How do you set boundaries with social media? Because I know you've definitely experienced backlash on social media, which I still don't understand, but that's like a whole other story. I mean, I do understand, but it doesn't make sense why people say things, leave the comments that they do on your stuff. But how do you set that boundary and still continue to have a healthy relationship with social media?
Honestly, I don't share a lot about like my personal life. Like, it's really my job, and I like keep it as my job. Everything personal in my life, I'm just like not comfortable sharing. And I probably won't really ever share, you know? Yeah. And I think a lot of influencers, you know, they love to chats. They love the think pieces. They love to like let people into like their dating lives and like even beyond that, like their family lives and the entire nine. And those are just things that like I'm not willing to share because I just don't, one, care what you think. Yeah. And two, it's personal to me. And I also recognize that like I'm human and this is my first time living life too. And I'm already held to like an insane standard and a standard that is just like not sustainable for anyone really. Yeah. And it is my narrative to control and it'll always be my narrative to control. And I think sometimes influencers feel like they constantly have to share, but you actually don't have to. Like you share what you want to share, you post what you want to post. And for me, it's 100% like, okay, I'm going to post makeup. Like that's me and this brush. That's really all you guys are going to see. And that is okay. And if you are comfortable sharing those personal things, like that's great. But like also know that like opens up room for people to like criticize and say whatever they want to say. And I also think there's like a really big importance on taking a walk, putting the phone down, don't chronically be online. Like I'm a TikToker, but like most of these trends, like I have no idea. Like my friends they'll be like, oh my God, let's do this trend. I'm like, what? Because I'm like not on the internet too crazy because I just think that it's not healthy to consume that much social media 24/7. And above that all, it's just like 3 million people on the internet is a lot of people. And it's not just like it's on your phone. It's like you go out in public and like people are recognizing you. There's a lot that happens after the fame comes. And there are nuances that I don't think that unless you're an influencer, you would understand. Or just like someone that has a following that you would understand. But it's just really important to like set those boundaries and recognize that you're human too and you're allowed to have boundaries. Like you're allowed to be like, no, like I'm not going for it, you know? And you don't have to hold yourself to this insane standard that everyone else does. It is 100% your narrative to control. So
there was some specialists that because it came out that children like under 18, even like junior high, elementary school, like depression is so high right now in young kids because of social media and because like our brains, like you said, 3 million people, like you're opening yourself to having a minimum of 3 million people. Who knows who else is going to see it on the For You page, give their comments and opinions when our brains aren't like designed to receive that much information all the time. Like we're just not wired that way. And that's why we feel so much like highs and lows of, you know, you had a video go viral and then you're like questioning your whole existence when, you know, your next 3 don't do well. And it just opens up this really sticky situation. And I feel like you setting a boundary with that is so amazing and people can learn from it. Cause I think influencers can get lost in sharing and then like there's no, it just becomes meshed. There's no private life. There's no, like you've already shared everything on the internet. So there's no separation. And so your life is the internet. And that's when I feel like it could be really damaging.
It really is. Cause it's like not every day is scroll. Not every day is post. Not everything is a piece of content. Like I think it's like so essential for influencers to really put your phone down. Like actually go to dinner and eat dinner, you know, don't record everything. And I think I do a really good job of like not recording everything. Like I feel like sometimes people will like see me out and about and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even know you were here. I didn't know you were on this brand trip, or I didn't know that you were this. And it's because I just don't chronically feel the need to like have to like record my entire life. And I think that it also just comes up from a place of like, wow, like I really don't have any privacy anymore. Like it's really gone. Like once you have reached a certain threshold, like everything changes. And whenever you do have those like small pockets of peace, like you really do want to protect them. Like they are sacred to you. And that goes like the same thing about like people in your life and like relationships specifically. Like I think influencers and relationships, like sometimes it's okay to not tell the entire world who you're dating. You know, like it's okay to like just do what you're doing and do it privately and do it comfortably in your own narrative. And just move with intention in this life, you know?
No, I know cause I grew up like very normal. I was never like in the industry until I met my husband, and we dated for probably like 10 months before we ever posted anything. And, you know, obviously at first I was like, why aren't you letting me like share you? But then I had to learn and understand what that repercussion is. And I remember my husband was like, I was letting him, once I had understood it, I was like, okay, totally, like take as long as you want. Like we don't need to share each other like for forever. And 10 months in, he was like, okay, like he was like, I'm ready to like post it. And he was like, it's going to be different, just so you know, like nothing between us, but like outside opinions, and it's just going to look different. Which is something that I'm definitely learning still even.
And you have to like recognize too, like as an influencer, like your friends and the people in your life, like they're real people.
Yeah.
And they have real feelings. And just because you're accustomed to like the constant input and the constant perception, like these other people aren't.
Yeah.
And you have to be super mindful about what you share and who you share, because it just opens up an entire can of worms, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for people to adjust. Like it's really hard for people to adjust. And I think that's like where the grace portion comes in too. It's like above having grace for yourself, like you need to have grace for the other people in your life too, because you asked for this life, but did they?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's so good. I know I have my friends who I have two sets of friends because I love them equally, but I have friends who are like my childhood friends or my friends that I hang out with every weekend. They're not influencers. They don't have anything to do with the industry. They're just my normal friends. And I don't really ever do content with them or anything. Then I have my influencer friends who, you know, we hang out. There's times where we don't do anything, but also we know we're going to get together and we're going to like film content. Yeah. And I've been getting some like hate messages of being like, you have grown, or basically saying that I have left my old friends in the dust and all I care about is being friends with influencers and all this stuff. I'm like, little do you know, I actually choose not to share that. Like we never really talk about our parents. Like I don't talk about my family much because that's like, that's my private space. And that's the same thing with my childhood friends. Like if we're going somewhere on a trip, of course, like I'll share about the trip. I'll post photos from the trip. But when we're just having dinner, like on a Saturday night, we'll have our little friend group. Yeah, that's my people. And I don't feel the need to post about it. So it's definitely like this weird thing. And that's where, you know, opinions definitely can. For sure. And it's just so weird because it's just like, why do you care so much? Yeah. You know, like, why do you care who I'm friends with, who I'm not friends with? And above that all, like, why are my emotional, like, relationships with people such a big part of your life that you have to put your input into? Yeah. And that's why I'm just like, don't share it at all. Yeah. Like, I'm so pro not sharing anything at all. Yeah. My girlfriend says that she's like very toxically positive, and she knows this about herself. But she says that when people will comment something negative or send her a negative message, she's like, they just want to be included. And like they don't have, like, clearly they don't have friends. They don't. She's like, no. They're just looking for a way to like feel included. So like if they feel included watching my content, then that's how they feel. I'm like, I don't feel that. But I love that you are able to turn it that way. That's a way to put it, you know? It is a way. Yeah, for sure. It is a way. I love that. I'm curious, would you ever have a beauty brand? Would you ever come out with a makeup line, or what are your thoughts on that? Yes, I think, you know, down the line for sure, I definitely want a beauty brand. And it's definitely something that like I've thought about and like I'm working through privately, but it's also just like, I think people don't realize like I just turned 24 a month or two ago. Like I literally just turned 24. Like I'm so young. This is like my first time ever living life. And like above it all, it's like my first time ever living life comfortably. And so I'm really just trying to like soak it in and like sit in it for a little bit and go at a slower pace. Cause I feel like, you know, I blew up when I was like maybe like 2021, I think. And that was like, that's young, but it's because I felt like I had to. Like I didn't have the circumstances where I could grow comfortably and like, you know, not have to work and not have to like constantly feel like I had to be something and do something and overachieve because there are like actually people that depend on me. Yeah. And so now that I'm actually able to just like sit in it and just like be comfortable and work through it, I think that's just the stage of life where I'm at, where I'm really like learning to, one, center myself a little bit more, and also just like know that like you don't have to always take care of everybody. Yeah. And then two, just like
sit in the fact that you have done so much in such a little amount of time, and like you deserve to like enjoy these fruits for a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I think I'll have a makeup brand, but maybe when I'm like 26, 27, you know, like when I'm at that age where I'm just like, okay, like I can sit down and settle down a little bit and like really like put my all into it. But right now it's just like this is a lie. I'm even still growing as we speak, you know? So
that's such a good outlook. Just knowing that and being aware that, you know, that's actually never going away. Like you could literally wait till you're 40 to do that. Like that is something that will always be there for you to do. And I think the relevancy of it will always be there because of it's who you are and it's your lived experience. But I think you also just carry yourself. Like I forgot that you were 24. Yeah. I mean, which is, how old am I? I'm 28. But you just carry yourself. Like I feel like you're older than me, just the way you carry yourself.
Thank you, girl. You have to. When you grow up fast, like you really just have to lock in. And it does feel like sometimes I'm like, I'll be in rooms with people that are my age and I'm just like, wow, like I really do not act like this. And it's because I really am a product of my circumstances. I think that when you just like have had to like grow up hard and like do things without someone patting you on the back or like saying that they're proud of you, like it's really hard to like not then turn that into like hyper independency. Yeah. And so I've always been extremely hyper independent and I've always taught myself a lot alone. And yeah, I think granted, it's great that I have the mindset, but it's also just like, you know, like sometimes you need to remember you are 24.
Yeah. It's okay. Okay. Last question before we go into our little ending segment, but I'm curious what you're most proud of yourself for.
Probably continuing to break barriers despite like the racism and the colorism and the backlash. I think racism and colorism, it's a very like tricky conversation to have, and it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have for a lot of people. And for me personally, like it's been something that I've dealt with my entire life, and dealing with it now at the masses has been definitely really difficult. Like I know the standards that I'm held to are insane standards, but also recognizing that in order to do this, I have to live unapologetically for myself. Like I cannot continue to like cave to the comments. I can't. And my comments, it's not just like one comment. It's like hundreds of thousands of bad comments, you know, of racist, like colorist, horrible comments. And, you know, I have to like really sit back and recognize, okay, like this isn't just like affecting you now, but this is also touching parts of like your inner child that have been hurt, that have been just like left untouched, and that have really set the tone for how you view yourself moving forward and how you did view yourself. And having to learn to carry space for myself, one, as a kid and now as an adult, and like recognize that those feelings are still the same. They may not be at like the same stagnant levels, but they're still the same and they still feel the same. And it's hard. Like it is so hard. So I'm just like really proud of myself for like allowing myself to feel and to feel it unapologetically, and still at the end of the day get back up and be like, okay, well, I'm still gonna do the darkest shade videos because it's still happening, and I can take a little bit of this heat. I can take a little bit of these hard conversations, and I can deal with the racism and colorism, but at the end of the day, I know the impact and the change that I'm making in this industry is a stamp. And not only is it a stamp, it's actually helping real people. And that is like the entire goal of what I do, is like I actually want to make dark-skinned women feel seen in everything they do, and not just in beauty, but in every industry across the board. Like your voice is valued. Doesn't matter how dark you are. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you're from. As long as you continue to make space and push boundaries and really just like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do it proudly. It doesn't matter if you don't think that I belong at this table. I know I do. Yeah. And knowing that type of confidence, it really starts from within, and like constantly showing people that despite it all, I'm gonna still make the video. You guys can drag me for 2 weeks, but I'm gonna still come back with another darkest shade video because it's bigger than me. And so every day I'm learning for sure, but I'm just proud that I give myself that space to learn.
Oh my gosh. Preach it. That was so good.
Thank
you.
Love
that. Okay. Let's head into our last little segment. Perfect. It's called Lemon 7.
Okay.
7 questions. You can rapid fire them. You can go into a monologue, whatever you are feeling, how you want to answer the question.
Perfect.
You just go with it. Okay. Number 1 is, what movie or song title best describes your mental health today?
Ooh, probably Happy Song by Shay Vibes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I love that. Why?
I think Shay Vibes is just like, he's just an industry disruptor. Like he is honestly, I think one of like the best Afrobeats artists out there. And I think that he's not even signed to like an agency or anything. He really does it by himself, and he really just like continues to break barriers. But above that all, like he's just very different. Like he doesn't care about trends. He doesn't care about what's popping and like, the top 100 list. Like he really is himself in everything that he does. And Happy Song is really just about being happy and like existing unapologetically. And I think I'm in a state of my life where I just like don't really care much, I'm definitely just like, I'm really a happy girl, and like if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't, and that's okay. But the same constant is I'm living my life for me. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2 is, how open are you with people in your life when you're struggling?
Not that open. Not that open. I don't think it's like by force, but I just think that a lot of people just have never really held space for me to be open in my life. And I think that's okay. I think everyone carries like trauma differently. And I think everyone has like an equal amount of trauma that they're dealing with and processing with differently. But I think for me, I really do trust that everything that I do is already decreed. Like Allah's plans is like the best of plans. And if I cannot go to anybody else in my life, like there is one person that I can go to that I can always depend on, and that's God. So for me, it's like, I'm not talking, but I just know that it's like, there are things bigger than me. It's already decreed. And even if it's not being voiced out loud, like Allah knows what's in my heart. He knows my intention. And above that, all that's enough for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
Okay, number 3 is, if you could follow only 3 social media accounts, what would they be?
Bobby. I love Miss Bobby. She's so funny to me.
She's funny.
Bobby cracks me up. I probably would say, who's a good one? Probably Rihanna, of course. I think Rihanna is just Rihanna. Like you can never go wrong. And when she does post, I'm just like, you really did eat that, girl.
Yep.
And then last but not least, should I say a beauty girl? Who's my favorite beauty girl at the moment? Probably Simi Moonlight. She is a New York-based fashion girl. She's dark-skinned. She's unapologetic. She's beautiful. And she is just like not afraid to like be herself and like, just do what she wants to do. And I love everything about her. I think her fashion sense is also just like incredibly amazing and different too. And I think that I love that she doesn't follow trends, and I love that she's just like her, and she continues to be her and everything despite it all. So
I love that. I'll have to look her up. I'm so bad with like influencer. Like I'm bad with knowing like the trends.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. There's really a lot of them. Okay, number 4 is, what is your favorite form of self-care?
I like going to the mosque. I'm a mosque girl. Okay. When I feel like overwhelmed or just like things are getting too much, I'll just go and work in the mosque. It's just like silent. It's quiet. And it's also just like, I know that overall everything, like I'm always safe there. So, that's where I be there.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
What is the most misunderstood thing about you?
Probably that people think that I enjoy making the darkest shade videos. Like, I think people think that every time I swatch a product that doesn't work for me, like, oh my God, like, I think they think it's like the happiest thing ever, but it's actually kind of traumatizing. It's a constant reminder that you're like not included in this space. And above that all, that your skin color and how you look is not perceived by the world. And above that, it's like you are constantly being reminded that they don't see you. Yeah. They don't see you. They don't hear you. They don't even acknowledge you enough to make a shade for you. Yeah. And that's hard. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to even like conceptualize. And it took me a long time to get here, because for a really long time I was like, okay, like I'm getting the accolades, like I'm making the money, but I still feel like I don't really love doing this. And it's just that like constant reminder that you are being reminded that you are not enough in the light of this industry, in the light of the world. And it's hard. It's definitely hard. I think people think I enjoy the darkest shade videos, and I enjoy it to a degree sometimes, but like most of the time it's just like a reminder that like, girl, they do not see you. Yeah. So honest. And I think that's why I continue to make them, because it's just like, we should be seen. Like we should be seen. We should be advocated for. And we deserve to be here. So
that's so true. Yeah. Okay. Number 6 is, who has had the most positive impact on your mental health?
Ooh, great question. Probably Danessa Myricks, for sure. Okay. I've had a lot of conversations with Danessa Myricks. She is relatively positive, but she's also just a woman that has lived through a lot. And I think that we relate on a lot, especially like how we act. And Danessa has always been like a mentor for me. She's always like, if you need anything, like you can call me, you can text me. I've like gone to the spa with her. Like, aww. You know, Danessa is definitely like one of those like constant things. Like she's always commenting on my posts. Like she's always making it known that she sees me, and above that all, like she sees the work that I do. And I think because she's also in this industry too, and like creating her own brand and in these room, in these spaces, she knows how hard it is to exist and push and break these barriers. And so, yeah, I feel like every time I'm down, like Danessa's there. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Number 7 is, if you can go back to one moment in your life, what moment would that be? And what would you say to yourself?
Ooh, probably my high school graduation. Okay. Yeah, I would probably go back to my high school graduation. I literally showed up to high school like my last year, probably like 30, 40 days. Like there was just like a lot of stuff happening internally and like family stuff. And when I graduated, I was literally just like in the worst place of my life. And it was just like, wow, like you should really be proud of yourself, but like you really are just like, you want to get out the house and go, you know? So I think in that moment, I probably would just like tone myself like, you did a good job and like you did the best that you could. But yeah, that was probably like one of the hardest days of my life, because I was like, if I didn't have to walk that stage, I wouldn't have, you know? Yeah. And I also went to like a really like racist, horrible high school. And so just like living in that experience and like knowing that I just was not happy to be there and like be around these people, like I should have given myself more grace to just like feel what I felt. But I think I was also just like young and I didn't know how to say, girl, give yourself a pound on the back. You're going through stuff. You're doing what you can. And like, you see what you're doing and Allah sees what you're doing, and that's enough, you know? So, yeah.
I love that. Well, thanks for coming and chatting with me. I love getting to like learn about you, and I love your content. And I know that you're inspiring so many people, and I'm proud of you for speaking up and raising awareness and speaking out for people, because it's important. And it truly, like, you know, it's one thing if I were to say people need to be included, but it's a much bigger thing when someone that has actually lived these experiences shares it. And I can't imagine how hard that can be for you. But I just applaud you for it, because it takes a lot of balls to do what you do. And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Thank you for watching The Squeeze, guys.